Imagine finding a turtle shell covered in ancient writing that literally predicts the future. Sounds like something out of a fantasy movie, right? But 3,000 years ago in China, the Shang Dynasty was doing exactly this, and these oracle bones became the oldest form of Chinese writing we've ever discovered. Here's what's absolutely mind-blowing. These weren't just random scratches. They were sophisticated questions to the gods. And the answers? They shaped an entire civilization's decisions on war, harvest, and even childbirth. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal about the Shang Dynasty and Oracle bone script will completely change how you think about ancient communication. Let's dive in. The Shang Dynasty, China's Bronze Age powerhouse. The Shang Dynasty ruled ancient China from approximately 1600 to 1046 BCE. That's over 500 years of dominance. To put that in perspective, that's longer than the entire existence of the United States. This wasn't just some primitive tribal society. We're talking about a sophisticated civilization with advanced bronze metallurgy that produced weapons and ritual vessels, organized cities with palaces and temples, a complex social hierarchy with kings, nobles, priests, and commoners, agricultural systems that fed thousands. The Yin, near modern-day Anyang, was a bustling urban center where archaeologists have uncovered massive royal tombs, bronze foundries, and, most importantly, over 150,000 oracle bones. But here's where it gets fascinating. The Shang Dynasty wasn't just building cities and making bronze swords. They were developing something far more revolutionary, a writing system that would evolve into modern Chinese characters. And the key to unlocking this ancient script? Those mysterious oracle bones. You're probably wondering, what exactly were these oracle bones, and why were they so important? Oracle bones, ancient China's hotline to the divine. Picture this. You're a Shang king facing a critical decision. Should you attack a neighboring tribe? Will the harvest be abundant? Is the queen going to give birth to a son? You can't just flip a coin. You need divine guidance. Enter the oracle bones. Oracle bones were typically made from ox scapulae, shoulder blades, turtle plastrons, the flat underside of turtle shells. Here's the process that'll blow your mind. The king or a diviner would carve a question onto the bone. Something like, will it rain in the next 10 days? Or, should we wage war against the neighboring Qiang tribe? They'd drill small pits into the back of the bone. A heated bronze rod was applied to these pits, causing the bone to crack. The diviner would read these cracks like a cosmic message, interpreting the patterns as yes or no answers from the ancestors or gods. The question, the answer, and sometimes even the outcome were carved permanently onto the bone. Here's the crazy part. These weren't one-time rituals. The Shang conducted divination ceremonies almost daily. Some oracle bones contain dozens of questions, creating a detailed historical record of Shang concerns, beliefs, and daily life. Imagine if we did this today. Dear ancestors, should I text my ex? Crack, the spirits say absolutely not, and also maybe get therapy. But wait, how did scholars even figure out what these ancient symbols meant? Cracking the code, the discovery that changed everything. For centuries, Chinese farmers would occasionally dig up these strange carved bones. They called them dragon bones and ground them into powder for traditional medicine. Yes, they were literally destroying priceless historical artifacts for health supplements. Then in 1899, a Chinese scholar named Wang Yirong was sick and examining some dragon bone medicine when he noticed something extraordinary. The scratches weren't random. They were organized symbols, writing. This discovery triggered an archaeological revolution. Scholars began collecting oracle bones from farmers and dealers, excavating official archaeological sites at Anyang, comparing the ancient characters to modern Chinese writing. And here's what shocked everyone. About 30 to 40% of the oracle bone characters are recognizable ancestors of modern Chinese characters. For example, the character for sun was drawn as a circle with a dot. Moon, Yue, looked like a crescent horse, showed a four-legged animal with a flowing mane. Rain depicted drops falling from clouds. This was huge. It proved that Chinese writing has an unbroken lineage spanning over 3,000 years, one of the longest continuous writing traditions in human history. Now here's where things get even more interesting. What did these ancient questions actually reveal about Shang society? What the bones tell us: a window into ancient minds. The oracle bone inscriptions aren't just linguistic artifacts, they're a 3,000-year-old diary of Shang civilization. Scholars have cataloged over 4,500 distinct characters, though only about 1,500 have been definitively deciphered. Here's what the questions reveal. Military concerns. Should the king attack the Gongfang tribe? Will we be victorious in the upcoming battle? Agricultural anxiety. Will there be sufficient rain for the millet crop? Should we perform a ritual to ensure a good harvest? Royal health and succession. Will the queen give birth safely? Is the king's toothache caused by ancestor displeasure? Ritual obligations. Should we sacrifice 10 oxen or 30 sheep? Which ancestor should receive offerings this month? One particularly fascinating oracle bone records a king asking about a strange dream. Another documents a 10-day weather forecast, and the actual outcome was carved in afterward. Statistical fact: approximately 20 to 30% of oracle bone inscriptions deal with military matters, showing just how war-focused the Shang Dynasty was. Another 30 to 40% concern weather and agriculture, the literal lifeblood of the civilization. But the real question is, why did the Shang trust these cracks so completely? The power of ancestor worship. Why oracle bones worked. To understand oracle bones, you need to grasp the Shang worldview. They believed ancestors continued to exist in the spirit world. These spirits could influence the living world, weather, battles, health. Proper rituals and sacrifices kept ancestors happy. Divination was a direct communication channel. The king wasn't just a political leader, he was the chief priest, the mediator between the human and divine realms. His ability to communicate with ancestors legitimized his rule. If the oracle bones said attack, the army marched. If they said sacrifice 100 cattle, 100 cattle died. Talk about pressure. Modern politicians worry about approval ratings. Shang kings worried about whether grandpa's ghost was angry about insufficient beef offerings. This system created a theocratic government where religious authority and political power were inseparable. The oracle bones weren't just fortune-telling, they were policy documents, legal precedents, and divine mandates all rolled into one. Here's something even more surprising that most people don't know: the evolution from bones to brushes. Oracle bone script wasn't frozen in time. Over the Shang Dynasty's 500-plus-year reign, you can actually trace the evolution of characters becoming more standardized and abstract. Early oracle bones show pictographic characters, simple pictures of objects. Later bones reveal more stylized, abstract forms, compound characters combining multiple elements, grammatical particles showing linguistic sophistication. After the Shang fell to the Zhou dynasty in 1046 BCE, oracle bone divination declined, but the writing system they developed, it exploded. The script evolved through several stages: bronze inscriptions, Zhou dynasty; seal script, Qin dynasty; clerical script, Han dynasty; regular script, still used today. Mind-blowing fact: a modern Chinese person can look at some oracle bone characters and recognize them immediately. Imagine reading something written in 1600 BCE and understanding it. That's the continuity of Chinese civilization. This writing system went on to influence Korean, Japanese, and Vietnamese writing systems, making oracle bone script the ancestor of scripts used by over 1.5 billion people today. So what happened to the Shang dynasty and their oracle bones? The fall and the legacy. Around 1046 BCE, the Shang dynasty fell to the Zhou, a former vassal state. The Zhou condemned Shang practices as excessive and cruel. The Shang did perform human sacrifices, but they kept the writing system and many governmental structures. The oracle bones were buried and forgotten for nearly 3,000 years. But their rediscovery in 1899 revolutionized our understanding of early Chinese history, confirming kings previously thought mythical, the development of writing systems, ancient religious practices, Bronze Age civilization complexity. Today, oracle bones are considered so significant that in 2017, UNESCO added them to the Memory of the World Register, recognizing their importance to human heritage. Major collections exist in the National Library of China, Academia Sinica in Taiwan, various museums in Beijing, Shanghai, and Anyang, mid-roll CTA. Quick thing before we wrap up: If you're finding this journey into ancient China fascinating, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps more history lovers discover content like this, and it tells YouTube to recommend these videos to people who appreciate deep dives into civilization's mysteries. Plus, ring that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because trust me, we're just getting started with Shang Dynasty secrets. Now, let's bring this home. Closing. So there you have it, the Shang Dynasty and Oracle Bone Script, a 3,000-year-old communication system that connected kings to gods, shaped the fate of armies, and gave birth to one of the world's most enduring writing systems. From turtle shells and ox bones to modern Chinese characters used by billions, the journey is absolutely extraordinary. Here are your key takeaways. Oracle, the discovery in. Now here's my question for you. Would you trust major life decisions to divination methods like oracle bones, or do you think the Shang kings were just using them to justify decisions they'd already made? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to go deeper into Shang Dynasty mysteries, drop a comment about what aspect of ancient China you'd like me to explore next. Before you go, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the like if this video taught you something new. Speaking of the Shang Dynasty, here's something that'll blow your mind. Those oracle bones were just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Shang religious practices. In my next video, I'm diving deep into the beliefs and rituals during the Shang Dynasty. And let me tell you, the sacrificial ceremonies and ancestor worship practices were way more intense than you'd imagine. You won't believe what archaeologists found in the royal tombs. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.